I ran away after flirting with the paranoid hero author. Orange Yan Miao Introduction. Hi, wife. The following is the text of this article. Zhang Chuian dressed as a vicious man and wife who humiliated the male protagonist Yu Yuan in the novel, and finally died of excessive blood loss. Because the male protagonist drained his blood in order to save Bai Yue Guang. When Zhang Chuian came through, he held a long whip in his hand and stepped on the back of the male protagonist. The male protagonist has whip marks on his back, and his eyes seemed to swallow him alive. Zhang Chuian's calf was weak, and he said with a trembling voice, "Hi, husband QAQ." In order not to collapse, Zhang Chuian worked hard to be a vicious villain. He tortured the male protagonist, making the male protagonist study day and night, and only sleep 5 hours a day. The male protagonist won the special scholarship. Zhang Chuian bullied the male protagonist and made the male protagonist wait for him to dress and bathe like a servant every day. In order to torture the male protagonist more deeply, Zhang Chuian intends to say something disgusting to the male protagonist. Zhang Chuian's eyes were red with shame, and her peach blossom eyes were gleaming. "Oh, you annoying little goblin, come and please me." Yu Yuan knelt down on one knee, with a pious gaze. "Yes. Zhang Chuian?" Zhang Chuian's earlobes turned red. 10 million to buy you one night. Yu Yuan's eyes were fascinated. "Okay, if the money is not enough, I will post it." Zhang Chuian? Until one day, the male protagonist Bai Yue Guang suffered from a rare blood disease, and he happened to have the same rare blood type. In order to save his life, Zhang Chuian carried the train overnight. Bye-bye, dog man. After going abroad, Zhang Chuian enjoys a happy life with salted fish and spends his days with his little puppy. Until one day, he opened the door with his arms around the little milk dog, and happened to see the male protagonist standing outside the door with scarlet eyes, as if he was going to swallow him alive. "Grass? Master, calm down." Afterwards, Zhang Chuian couldn't sleep for a whole week, feeling that his body was hollowed out. JPG, Yu Yuan fell in love with someone. Yu Yuan tried to drag him into hell, and wanted to kiss his fingertips and worship him as a god. Note: 1, 2, 3. Double First Love, Sand Sculpture Redemption Cookies 4. The original name was I Ran Away after redeeming the hero content tags. Search keywords: Protagonist, Zhang Chuian, Yu Yuan. Supporting role: Wife, My Destined Wife. For collection: Omega/others. After rebirth, I redeemed Paranoia Little Wolf Dog Redemption Cookies for collection. 1 sentence introduction: Hi, wife. Intention: be kind to others. Yu Yuan only almost lost a leg. What you lost is love. You are very noble, and Yu Yuan is shameless. Young master, you calm down. It's not worth getting angry for Yu Yuan's little white face. What can you do if you are angry with your body? The chaotic sound got into my ears. Zhang Chuian tried her best to open her eyes. The first thing that caught my eye was a bright red, like the color of blood. There is also a strong smell lingering in the nose. Blood? Murder? Zhang Chuian was so frightened. He blinked hard, and the blurry scene in front of him gradually became clear. This is a magnificent hall. There are many people in suits and uniforms surrounding him. There seemed to be something soft and warm under his feet. Zhang Chuian lowered his head. At his feet was a man. The scrawny man was lying on the tile floor with whip marks on his back, which was extremely miserable. At this moment, his right foot stepped on the man's tail. Zhang Chuian woke up suddenly and hurriedly took a few steps back. Damn, is this a murder scene? He had a car accident just now. How did he travel to the murder scene in a blink of an eye? What a vicious person can he beat a man like this? The priority is to save people first. Zhang Chuian took a few deep breaths, tried to sort out his chaotic thoughts, and said angrily, which wicked pen beats people like this? First call 120 and call an ambulance, and then hurry up and let the police arrest the murderer. The housekeeper blushed and reminded in a low voice, Young master, you beat him. Zhang Chuian. It was me. Zhang Chuian asked in confusion, who am I? He clearly had a car accident, why is he standing here intact? The butler's expression was horrified. Master, is your mental illness committed again? Zhang Chuian. Housekeeper, your name is Zhang Chuian, and you are the much-loved youngest son of the Zhang family. My usual hobbies are robbing women and men and finding boyfriends. The housekeeper stretched out 3 fingers and said proudly, your boyfriend is this number. Single mother and child, Zhang Chuian had never seen the world, and was surprised. I have 3 boyfriends. The housekeeper shook his head. 3 digits. At least a few hundred. Zhang Chuian. Having hundreds of boyfriends after a car accident is outrageous. Zhang Chuian pointed to the man on the floor with blood dripping from his back. What about him? The housekeeper said disdainfully, his name is Yu Yuan, he is just your little lover. Yu Yuan almost broke his leg because he didn't want to ride a horse with you. But he almost broke a leg. What you lost is love. I suggest punishing him severely and letting him remember the lesson this time. Zhang Chuian. What kind of logic this is? Wait a minute, the word Yu Yuan sounds familiar. He was bored last night and read a novel called The Return of the Strongest Son-in-Law by Long Aotian. The male protagonist in the novel is also called Yu Yuan. The male protagonist suffered from domestic violence from his mother since he was a child, and grew up with countless scoldings and beatings. My mother was abusive and alcoholic, and brought all kinds of men home for the night. When the male protagonist was 12 years old, his mother committed suicide by jumping off a building. Before committing suicide, she wanted to take the male protagonist to death with her. Growing up in this environment, the character of the male protagonist became more and more distorted and crazily criticized. Later, the male protagonist met a vicious villain. The vicious villain liked the male protagonist's face and launched a passionate pursuit of the male protagonist. The pursuit of gifts included giving the male protagonist a disembodied mouse and a dead spider, burning ants. But the male protagonist always rejects the vicious villain. The vicious villain turned black after asking for nothing, locked the male protagonist in the villa to humiliate him wantonly, whipped the male protagonist at every turn, injected the male protagonist with addictive drugs, and the male protagonist almost lost his life. At this time, the pure and kind-hearted little white flower heroine appeared, saving the male lead from the fire and water, healing the broken heart of the male lead, and became the white moonlight in the male lead's mind. Unfortunately, the heroine suffers from a blood disease and requires a large amount of blood transfusion. The vicious villain was treated as a human-shaped blood bag by the male protagonist, and he drained the blood and gave it to the female protagonist. In the end, he lost too much blood and died. In the end, he died without a whole body. Zhang Chuian's mind suddenly flooded with memories of the original owner. After receiving the memory, Zhang Chuian wanted to find a piece of tofu and hit him to death. Well, he's wearing a book. He dressed like the vicious cannon fodder that was drained of blood. There is a floor mirror next to it. Why is he not dressed as the hero of Long Aotian, but as the wife of the hero of Long Aotian? This is outrageous too. Zhang Chuian looked at Yu Yuan not far away. Yu Yuan lay unconscious on the ground, tattered black cloth covering his thin back, blood mixed with cloth strips, and the shape of the damaged texture under the clothes could be vaguely seen. The bright red flesh on the back turned out, and the welts were so deep that bones could be seen. As if aware of his sight, Yu Yuan raised his eyes. Yu Yuan's pupils are extremely black, his complexion is pale, and there are bright red blood stains on the corners of his lips, like an evil ghost coming for his life. The cold eyes are full of maliciousness, as if to swallow him alive. Help! It's scary. Zhang Chuian's calf trembled uncontrollably, because of extreme fear, the amber pupils unconsciously filled with water. The man would drain his blood, chop his body up and feed it to the dog. The most terrifying thing is that this person is still his husband. What is this death start? Jiang Chuyan's mind was blank, his lips were shaking up and down. The circles of his eyes were red, the amber pupils overflowed with mist, and he called out tremblingly, "Hi, husband." Hearing the husband, Yu Yuan looked slightly startled, and was stunned for 5 seconds before he recovered. The blood dripped down the superior brow bone. Yu Yuan carefully looked at Jiang Chuyan not far away. Jiang Chuyan gave birth to a beautiful skin, with a snow-white complexion and a beautiful face, worthy of the words colored like spring flowers. Just standing there eclipses all the scenery behind you. The weird thing is that Jiang Chuyan has already been killed by him, so why is he still standing here? Yu Yuan looked around and quickly realized the current situation. He was reborn, returning to 10 years ago. Yu Yuan recalled the appearance of Jiang Chuyan's death. In the basement, Jiang Chuyan's cheekbones were high and bulging, bony, chapped skin hanging loosely on the skeleton, and screaming ho in his mouth. Yu Yuan stared at the white back of Jiang Chuyan's neck. The young man's skin is dazzlingly white, like a fine white jade of suet. Warm blood splattered, possibly on his fingertips. The bright red blood remained in the fingers, starting to warm, and then gradually cooling. The thoughts poured out uncontrollably, and the vision in front of him was covered with a hazy blood color. He wants to let Jiang Chuyan live a life better than death. After calling her husband, Jiang Chuyan was stupid. He actually called Yu Yuan husband? Help, I'm going crazy. It was described in the original work that Yu Yuan was a straight man with serious cleanliness, and hated intimacy from the most. The title of husband must have disgusted Yu Yuan. Yu Yuan's clothes kept dripping blood, and blood was all over his face, so he couldn't even see his specific appearance. His back was straight and clear, as if nothing could destroy him. With so much blood, Yu Yuan was able to grit his teeth and stand there without saying a word. What a ruthless man! Jiang Chuyan was so dizzy that he said, "Housekeeper, please give Yu Yuan a bandage first." The look of the servant next to Jiang Chuyan suddenly became strange. There was no sound in the hall, and everyone was staring at him. That kind of look, as if I saw the blooming of the iron tree with my own eyes. The air is suddenly quiet. So weird. Scary. Feeling the gaze of the people around him like needles, Jiang Chuyan's scalp was numb, and his heart was pounding in fear. The housekeeper was shocked. "Doctor, the young master actually offered to bandage Yu Yuan's wound. The young master would treat Yu Yuan well. Could it be that the young master's mental illness is getting serious again?" The doctor nodded. "I can't rule out the possibility of aggravation. It seems that electric shock therapy should be considered next." The doctor's tone seemed to say, "Pack up and prepare for the funeral." Jiang Chuyan was terrified. Electric shock. The original owner liked to torture Yu Yuan to death the most, and it was impossible to take the initiative to care about Yu Yuan. He seems to have collapsed just now. People assume. The housekeeper casually mentioned, the young master of the Wang family suddenly changed his temperament when he woke up. He has been sent to a mental hospital for treatment. He was shocked by electric shocks more than 30 times, but it didn't help. It's a sin. The Wang family plans to do craniotomy is to dig out the head and take out the brain. "Master, what are you trying to say?" Jiang Chuyan's voice trembled. "No, nothing." Jiang Chuyan was heartbroken. "It seems that you must not collapse. Beng Gren will be sent to a mental hospital for electric shock. How can I not collapse?" He thought about it and found that the original owner was a complete psychopath who likes to torture and abuse others the most. The original owner loved Yu Yuan, but his love was to frantically torture Yu Yuan. The more painful Yu Yuan was, the happier he was. In the name of love, the original master personally destroyed Yu Yuan. Jiang Chuyan was disgusted by this kind of love. So, all he has to do is play a dark and twisted lunatic. I've played Yu Yuan to death now, what will I play in the future? Jiang Chuyan glanced coldly at the peach blossom eyes, holding a domineering look. Housekeeper, do you want to play with you? Seeing the arrogant appearance of the young master, the housekeeper was relieved, and the young master finally returned to normal. As long as the money is in place, everything is easy to say. Whether it is body or soul, I am willing to dedicate to you. Special statement, I definitely don't like your money, I just like the feeling of being insulted by money. Jiang Chuyan. He was too lazy to manage the housekeeper anymore, and turned to look at Yu Yuan. Yu Yuan's clothes were covered with blood, and his face was also covered in blood. Stand there like a blood man. Jiang Chuyan became more dizzy, and it took dozens of seconds to recover. If there is no treatment, there will be an accident. As an ordinary person with a normal view, he can't wait for death without help. Jiang Chuyan walked to Yu Yuan and squeezed his knuckles to suppress the fear in his heart. The boy's peach blossom eyes were red, his voice trembled, softly like he was coquettish. Husband, you fool! You are covered in blood and dirty my eyes. He was so dizzy that he didn't dare to look at the blood, so he could only stare at Yu Yuan's eyes. Yu Yuan's eyes are dark and deep, especially piercing, as if he can devour everything, pure black eyes staring straight at him, as if he wants to pluck out flesh and blood from his body. Then I smear the blood on the young master. Jiang Chuyan's pale pupils were filled with mist, biting his lower lip and trembling. Husband, no. Don't. He raised his fingertips and wiped the blood stains from the fingertips to the pretty face of the boy. The boy has a pair of beautiful peach eyes, his eyelashes are wet with tears, which is pitiful. Yu Yuan's tyrannical desire for destruction surged in his heart, wanting to completely smash the boy. Husband! Jiang Chuyan's amber eyes were full of water, like a frightened rabbit, his body stiffened and did not dare to move at all, allowing Yu Yuan to smear blood on his face wantonly. At this time, the bodyguard rushed over and pulled Yu Yuan away. Yu Yuan, how dare you commit this crime? The bodyguard was about to punch someone. You're dead. Jiang Chuyan hurriedly said, stop. The male protagonist is covered in blood, and if he is beaten again, he will die. Now I have to send the male lead to treatment. Jiang Chuyan frowned, trying to look like a lunatic. Yu Yuan is my favorite toy. The blood is dirty. I don't want to see blood on the toy. You guys remember to send my toy back in perfect condition, if anyone gets my toy dirty. The rest of the words were not directly spoken, but chilling. Jiang Chuyan's expression is paranoid and cold, like a neurotic villain. The servants shuddered at the thought of the young master's torture methods. The housekeeper wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and said respectfully, yes. Take that guy away. Don't get in the way of the young master. The servant dragged Yu Yuan, whose back was dripping with blood, to bandage the wound. Seeing that the evil spirit of the male protagonist leave, Jiang Chu's face was still cold, and he finally breathed a sigh of relief. In the novel, the original owner was drained of blood by Yu Yuan and turned into a mummified corpse. His death was extremely miserable. Jiang Chuyan felt that his fate would be worse than the original owner. The male protagonist looked at him just now, completely wanting to cut him into pieces. The way of hugging your thighs doesn't seem to work at all. Evening. Housekeeper, master, dinner is ready for you. Please eat. Looking at the exquisite dinner on the table, Jiang Chuyan couldn't lift his spirits. It will be his death in half a year, which may be the last 182nd bowl of dinner he eats. The more she thought about it, the more sad she became. Fries, Coke, chicken, burgers, pizza, and pork knuckles. Jiang Chuyan lay down on the bed and started to meditate. It is now known that the condition is that he is dressed as the male lead's vicious wife, and the ending is almost certain to die. Can I hug the male protagonist's thigh? No. First of all, the original main work died too many times, and even the gods could not save it. Besides, he can't break the character design, otherwise he will easily be sent to electric shock. The most important thing is that young Master Zhang is so spoiled by his family that he doesn't know how to hug another man's thigh. Let him try to please others, it is better to kill him directly. Is he lost? Zhang Chuyan sat up in shock while dying, and suddenly realized. Since the character design can't be broken, then it is better to plan and be a villain with high IQ, and have a fair competition with Yu Yuan. From today onwards, he will torture the male protagonist physically and mentally, fight wits and courage with the male protagonist, crush Yu Yuan intellectually, beat the male protagonist mentally, and torture the male protagonist physically, and finally defeated Yu Yuan to become the real Shuangwen hero. Zhang Chuyan instantly felt that his future was bright. Road, it's getting cold, and the Yu family should go bankrupt. The author has something to say. Ding, your first wife has arrived in the account. Little cuties, please pay attention to check it. Yu Yuan, let his wife live rather than die. Yu Yuan, it is better to let my wife live on the bed than to die. Zhang Chuyan had a dream of defeating the male protagonist overnight. The alarm goes off the next day. The high-pitched sound of musical instruments resounded through the room, the reverberation was endless, and the rhythmic suana sound kept hitting the eardrums. Hearing the alarm clock, Zhang Chuyan opened his sleepy eyes with difficulty. The housekeeper stood at the head of the bed and said gently, "Master, breakfast is ready and can be enjoyed at any time." The sound of the suana is cheerful and rapid, especially in the quiet room. The housekeeper couldn't hold back his curiosity and couldn't help asking, "Master, why is your alarm clock ringing a suana?" Zhang Chuyan explained casually, "I woke up to go to work, but I didn't wake up to go to work." The housekeeper smiled and said, "Young master, you are so humorous." Zhang Chuyan glanced at him suspiciously, put on his clothes and got out of bed. "No, I'm serious." The smile on the butler's face froze, and he couldn't smile. He changed the subject dryly. "Master, what's the name of this suana?" Zhang Chuyan got up in the morning and said coldly, "Kaihujiro's first 7. Housekeeper. It sounds like his first 7. After simply washing up, Zhang Chuyan walked to the hall and waited expectantly for breakfast. "I heard that today's breakfast includes custard buns, crystal shrimp dumplings, Westlake beef soup and so on. People live for food." At this moment, 2 men came in outside the door. The housekeeper reminded respectfully, "Master Qi and Yu Yuan are here to see you." Hearing the male protagonist coming, Zhang Chuyan immediately planned to play the villainous villain. He will brutally abuse the male lead. But now there is a problem. Who is the male lead between these 2 people? Zhang Chuyan has billions of face blindness. Yesterday, the male protagonist's face was covered in blood, and he did not see the male protagonist's face clearly. A man's clothes were ragged and covered with mud. The other person's clothes were obviously much cleaner. The book described that the male protagonist was in a very bad situation at the beginning, not enough to eat and not warm, and even his clothes were tattered. Then this beggar-like person must be the male lead. The beggar's clothes were covered in mud, and he rushed over to grab his arm. "This dog dares to kick me, Achoo, you want to avenge me?" Zhang Chuyan didn't like others touching him, so he took 2 steps back to avoid the beggar's action. As a vicious villain, how could he help the male protagonist? "Why should I avenge you? Are you dreaming? Did you roll in the mud, or dig coal in Africa? You smell so special." The beggar asked expectantly, "Does it smell particularly good?" The beggar sprayed perfume on purpose today, but after rolling around in the mud pile, his clothes were covered with mud odor. He didn't expect Zhang Chuyan to smell the fragrance hidden under the mud odor. Zhang Chuyan euphemistically said, "It must be very popular with dogs." "What do dogs like?" "Dogs love to eat." The beggar reacted, and his face suddenly turned blue and red. The beggar raised his orchid fingers and wiped away the non-existent tears from the corners of his eyes. "Aishu, you have changed." Zhang Chuyan was instantly stunned and tender, and said perfunctorily, "Ah yes yes yes." The beggar stomped the ground and said angrily, you are not the same you. Zhang Chuyan, ah yes yes yes. The beggar choked to death, how can you mock me in a weird way? Zhang Chuyan, ah yes yes yes. The beggar was so angry that he didn't catch his breath, you. Zhang Chuyan, ah yes yes yes. Beggar. Zhang Chuyan looked at the beggar's hot eyes and moved his eyes to the taciturn man beside him. In contrast to the dirty beggar beside him, the man was clean and handsome, and he was a mess. This must be Master Qi. Zhang Chuyan asked gently, your feet don't hurt, right? Yu Yuan covered his eyes and said innocently, it hurts a little. Zhang Chuyan comforted, if it hurts, come and sit on the chair, don't stand. The beggar, I want to sit too. Zhang Chuyan said with disgust, no, you are too dirty. It's not all my fault for getting so dirty. The beggar covered his guilty conscience and said indignantly, this dog man kicked me into the mud pit, do you care about him? Although he originally wanted to kick Yu Yuan into the mud pit, he was kicked into the mud pit by Yu Yuan instead. But so what, Ah Chu likes to torture Yu Yuan the most, and Ah Chu will definitely not blame him. Zhang Chuyan, don't worry, of course I will take care of it. Hearing this sentence, the beggar finally felt a little more comfortable, Aishu is the best for me. Zhang Chuyan said to the beggar, didn't he just kick you into the mud pit? It's fine if you get up from the mud pit, don't make a fuss. I see you are still alive and kicking now. Beggar. The beggar really cried this time. Zhang Chuyan gently pulled the handsome guy, Yu Yuan, to the seat, and asked warmly, please sit down, do you want tea? Do you want to drink Westlake Longjing or Taiguanyan? Yu Yuan's eyes flashed a strange color, thinking about what trick Zhang Chuyan wanted to play, no need. This is our first time meeting. Why do I feel like we've met many times before? After saying this, Zhang Chuyan couldn't help laughing, although this sentence is very old-fashioned, I really think so in my heart. The corners of Yu Yuan's lips raised a sneer, we did meet before. Zhang Chuyan propped his jaw and smiled, then we are really destined. It may be a predestined fate, I have a special fondness for you. This kind of affection does not involve liking, but simply appreciation of beauty. Zhang Chuyan is a paper lover, he only likes paper people, and has no interest in real people. Handsome guy, so lucky, can I invite you to dinner tonight? Pop. The plate in the hand of the butler next to me shattered. Eating with good-looking people can make people feel happy. Zhang Chuyan was so happy that he couldn't help suggesting, after dinner, let's watch a good-looking movie again. Such as Garden Babies. Clap. The vase in the hand of the servant shattered into pieces. Zhang Chuyan thought of a bright future for himself, and said softly, after watching the movie, we can go to the amusement park to play. What to play? Let's play on the merry-go-round. Crack. The stack of dishes in the chef's hand was all smashed into scum. It's common to call young Master Zhang, just call me Ah Chu. Zhang Chu couldn't help but sighed, fate is amazing. It's fate that made us meet. Are you interested in having a wonderful relationship with me? Zhang Chuyan's pretty face was slightly red, and hinted, we can play something exciting. Seeing Zhang Chuyan's bright and sultry smile, Yu Yuan had a guess in his heart. Zhang Chuyan was suddenly so enthusiastic about him, did he mistake him for someone else? Yu Yuan tentatively asked, what does young Master Zhang want to play with me? Zhang Chuyan's cheeks flushed, for example, let's play bumper cars together. Yu Yuan. The beggar finally couldn't stand it anymore, and said angrily, Chu, why are you being so kind to Yu Yuan? Am I still your favorite baby? Zhang Chuyan, you beggar. Zhang Chuyan suddenly realized something was wrong, wait, what did you say? Who are you calling Yu Yuan? The beggar pointed angrily at the people around him. The author has something to say. Ask for a comment, ibar.jpg, thank you for throwing mine and sending nutrient solution. Thanks to Xiao Lu for his clever mine, Omega, Bobo thanks Stella _900813110 bottles, 1 bottle of Fusang nutrient solution, Omega, /Chimi. Zhang Chuian's scalp was numb, he took a deep breath, turned his head and asked, You are Yu Yuan? You are not Master Qi. Seeing Zhang Chuian's reaction, Yu Yuan confirmed the guess just now, Zhang Chuian really recognized him as someone else. But they have known each other for nearly 2 months, how could Zhang Chuian not recognize his face? Yu Yuan suppressed the strange feeling in his heart and chuckled, I am Yu Yuan. Zhang Chuian's eyes were dark, and he couldn't recover for a while. Numb. Really numb. Facial blindness. Zhang Chuian pressed his temples and slowly let out a sigh, Little beggar, what's your name? The beggar wiped away tears in pain, My name is Qi Gai. Qi of the great sage Monkey King. Gai of the heroes of the world. Zhang Chuian, oh, hello beggar. You said just now that Yu Yuan kicked you into the mud pit. Qi sobbed, yes. Zhang Chuian's attitude immediately turned 365, and pointed at Yu Yuan, there is such a shameless person in the world. I condemn him for you. When facing the male protagonist, Zhang Chuian was still a little cowardly and asked in a low voice, Yu Yuan, why are you doing this? Yu Yuan said lightly, Qi Gai wants to sneak attack on me, but stealing chickens won't kill you. Zhang Chuian said fiercely, that's your fault too. You quickly apologize. Young Master Zhang didn't say that just now. Yu Yuan's tone was slow, as if in a strange yin and yang tone. Young Master Zhang said just now that Qi Gai just fell into the mud pit, but I injured my leg. Zhang Chuian suddenly felt his face hurt. Yu Yuan, if you do something wrong, you must bear the consequences. This evil right leg made an unforgivable mistake and must be punished. Your right leg. Zhang Chuian's eyebrows and eyes were covered with frost, and he made a click gesture with his right hand, and the rest of the words were self-evident. Yu Yuan's expression darkened. Zai Gai stopped in horror, you can't cut off his legs. We can't do illegal things. The housekeeper stopped, Master, legs are non-renewable resources, please think twice. If Yu Yuan's right leg is cut off, then Yu Yuan's right leg will be gone. Listen to what you have to say. Zhang Chuian wondered, when am I going to saw off his leg? Qi Gai asked in horror, are you trying to kill Yu Yuan? You misunderstood. Zhang Chuian explained, I meant to tie his right leg so that he could only walk on one foot. That scene must be very funny. Qi Gai's expression suddenly became indescribable, and he put on the mask of pain again. He didn't know if that scene was funny or not, he thought he was a joke now. Woo, I'm going home to find my mother, you all bully me. Putting those words down, Qi Gai ran away crying. The hall fell into a dead silence. Thinking of what he did just now, Zhang Chuian was so embarrassed that he wanted to find a hole to bury himself. The housekeeper respectfully said, Master, breakfast is ready, please eat. Zhang Chuian was not in the mood to eat. Some people are alive, but they are dead, smiley face. At this time, a fluffy white puppet cat walked towards Zhang Chuian. Seeing such a cute cat, Zhang Chuian's sadness was instantly healed. Immediately abduct the ragdoll into her arms and perform forced love play on the ragdoll. The housekeeper said with relief, Qiwa is still the closest to the young master. It is never touched by others, only by the young master. Zhang Chuian cracked open, Qiwa. The name Qiwa is really fresh and refined. When he read the novel, he didn't read it carefully and couldn't remember many details. There is a cat in the original book that seems to be really called Qiwa. Mia Ragdoll stretched out light pink claws, and her eyes were clear and blue. Zhang Chuian sat at the dining table with the cat in his arms, and out of the corner of his eye caught a glimpse of a grey enamel basin on the ground. The enamel basin is about the size of a wash basin. It contains a white steamed bun and a few pickles. It looks very shabby, a bit like a dog basin. Zhang Chuian hugged the puppet cat in his arms and asked fearfully, Do you have a dog at home? When he was a child, he was chased and bitten by dogs for 2 streets. He was a little afraid of dogs. Housekeeper, no dogs. Jiang Chuyan stared at the dog basin on the floor, his eyes moved to Yu Yuan, and he suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. The housekeeper continued to say, "This is Yu Yuan's breakfast. You don't allow Yu Yuan to eat at the table, and you ordered Yu Yuan to only use this basin to eat on the ground. Because once you fed Yu Yuan at the table, Yu Yuan didn't know how to push it. Open you." The housekeeper scolded, "You deserve it, people like Yu Yuan are really shameless. Yu Yuan dare not eat the food you fed yourself." "Butler, shut up." Jiang Chuyan tentatively glanced at the male protagonist's face and found that there was no expression on the male protagonist's face. The hero can really endure. Jiang Chuyan looked at the enamel basin, there was only one white steamed bun, not even a chopstick, and it was thrown in the far corner of the restaurant. The insult was too strong. The original owner is really scum. Even if he wants to abuse the male lead physically and mentally, Jiang Chuyan disdains to use such a rude method. It is really immoral to let people eat dog food. This rice bowl is an eyesore, it should be lost. Yu Yuan, you are my canary, so you should have the consciousness of a canary. From now on, all the rice bowls on the ground will only belong to cats. Don't delusionally think about things that don't belong to you, and don't rob cats and cats. You'd better go to the table to eat, don't try to disobey me. Yu Yuan didn't know what the Jiang Chuyan wanted to do. This neuropathy has always liked to use this dog basin to humiliate him, but now he has suddenly changed his nature. Could it be that Jiang Chuyan planned to torture him with more cruel means? Such as cutting off his dietary sources. Yu Yuan said coldly, "What if I don't agree?" Jiang Chuyan was stunned. "Even robbing cats and cats, are you still human?" The ragdoll meows with its claws, and the plush snow-white claws are placed on the edge of the enamel basin, as if responding. After listening to these humiliating words, Yu Yuan still had no superfluous expression on his face, his pupils were pure black, and he looked at Jiang Chuyan as if he was looking at a dead man. Jiang Chuyan commanded the puppet cat and said fiercely, "Meow, he robbed you of your meal, hurry up and scratch him." The puppet cat seemed to understand Jiang Chuyan's words, and rushed to Yu Yuan with its short fluffy legs. Putting on Yu Yuan's trousers, staring at Yu Yuan with clear blue watery eyes, he roared fiercely, "Meow meow meow! Meow!" The ragdoll cat is covered with snow-white fluff, the pads are light pink, and the meowing sound is particularly whimper, and the sweetness penetrates into the heart of the heart. Yu Yuan's eyes moved slightly, and he was caught off guard. Bent over and gently stroked the cat's fluff. It is soft to the touch, like a soft cotton candy. The puppet cat rubbed Yu Yuan's palm, hugged Yu Yuan's legs and rolled, purring comfortably, and betrayed on the spot. Jiang Chuyan couldn't even see the renegade cat. After waiting for a long time, still not waiting for the torture from Jiang Chuyan, Yu Yuan felt more and more strange. "Master, do you have anything else to order?" "Yes." There is a large table of dishes in front of him, so many dishes he can't finish. It's not good to waste food. It is better to use these dishes to abuse the male lead. In the original book, it is mentioned that the male protagonist likes to be vegetarian, hates meat and fish, and never buys meat in the supermarket. As a villain, of course, the male protagonist cannot get what he wants. Braised pork, sauce duck, braised pork ribs, big pork knuckle, etc. are all meat dishes that the male protagonist does not like to eat, so they are all arranged. "These breakfasts are too greasy, I don't have an appetite, so I'll give them to you." Jiang Chuyan looked dignified, and lazily handed Yu Yuan the thermos bottle with big fish and meat, "Take your breakfast away." Yu Yuan looked slightly startled, and the strange feeling in his heart became stronger and stronger. Jiang Chuyan not only did not cut off his dietary sources, but instead gave him better food. Furthermore, how did Jiang Chuyan know that he likes meat? I used to be vegetarian because I couldn't afford meat. Yes, sir. When passing the lunch box, the two people accidentally touched their fingertips. Yu Yuan quickly retracted his knuckles like an electric shock, his face turned blue in an instant, and there was a storm in his dark eyes. Jiang Chuyan was stunned for a few seconds, surprised that the male protagonist reacted so strongly. Jiang Chuyan also has a slight cleanliness and does not like to be too close to strangers. But such a small gesture of fingertips touching, he generally does not take it to heart. The male protagonist's cleanliness has become so serious that he can't stand even the most basic fingertip touch. Yes, it seems to have been described in the original book. Due to her tragic childhood experiences, Yu Yuan hated close contact from the same very much, and probably the most hated was the contact from the vicious villain Jiang Chuyan. Seeing this, Jiang Chuyan was even more excited. Jiang Chuyan took a few steps forward, narrowed the distance between the two, and deliberately moved closer. The distance was so close that it almost touched Yu Yuan's Adam's apple. Jiang Chuyan's peach blossom eyes glowed with a sly light. If he went further, he would hit his Adam's apple. But he dared to bet that the male protagonist would never let him meet. Sure enough. When he was about to meet, Yu Yuan suddenly took 2 steps back, his chest heaving slightly, as if suppressing his anger. Jiang Chuyan felt the joy of being a villain for the first time, and couldn't help being a little addicted. He asked with interest, "Husband, what are you hiding?" The boy's complexion is snow white, bright and flamboyant. Yu Yuan's Adam's apple rolled up and down, and said stiffly, "Nothing." Jiang Chuyan deliberately grabbed the shirt hem of the male protagonist's waist and shook it gently. There is no direct contact with the skin, but it is clearly over the top. My husband deliberately avoids me, does he hate me? Jiang Chuyan lowered his eyelashes, his delicate eyebrows covered with grey and gloomy. I thought that the male protagonist should not hate him, the male protagonist just wanted to kill him. It's okay, he just wants to discuss the hero, smiley face. Jiang Chuyan's slender eyelashes fluttered slightly, biting his lower lip, revealing a small dimple, endured shame, and whispered coquettishly, "I'm sorry, it's my fault that I annoyed my husband. I don't know that those little things will make my husband angry, so my husband shouldn't blame me." The tea smell in the words is overflowing. Jiang Chuyan is the first time to act like a spoiled child, and he is not very skilled in business. He glanced secretly at Yu Yuan from the corner of his eye. Yu Yuan was in a trance for a moment. The amber eyes of the young man are like honey syrup flowing, with sparkling broken light, and the sweetness melts in the pupils. The voice is soft and soft, making people's bones brittle. I can't wait to dedicate the most precious treasure in the world to him. No, nothing compares to a teenager. Youth is the most precious existence. In an instant, reason returned to the cage. Yu Yuan's face was ashen, and his eyebrows were tightly wrinkled. How could he think like that? Did Jiang Chuyan trick him? Yu Yuan's livid face was caught in Yu Yuan's corner. Jiang Chuyan thought that the effect of acting like a spoiled child was quite strong. The male protagonist looks very angry. Jiang Chuyan's mind flashed, and he suddenly realized. He seems to have found an excellent way to abuse the male lead. Method 1, call my husband. Method 2, act like a spoiled child. Method 3, contact the male protagonist, such as holding hands and hugging. Method 4, get in touch with the male protagonist, such as sleeping together at night. Method 5, call your husband while acting coquettishly while getting in touch with the male protagonist. After formulating the battle plan, Jiang Chuyan felt that he was a genius. Seeing that Yu Yuan was about to turn and leave, Jiang Chuyan stopped him. Wait. You stretch out your right hand. Yu Yuan lowered his eyes. Master, what are you doing? Jiang Chuyan frowned and looked a little impatient, and repeated what he just said, reach out. Don't let me say it a third time. Yu Yuan stretched out his right hand, palm facing up. Jiang Chuyan casually took a black pen from the side, twisted off the cap, and wrote his WeChat account in Yu Yuan's palm. Why write it on Yu Yuan's palm and not on the note? Of course it was to bully Yu Yuan. Zhang Chuyan thought for a while. If someone dares to write on his palm with a black pen, he must be very angry and directly smash that person's skull. Yu Yuan lowered his eyes and looked down at Zhang Chuyan, who was holding a pen and writing. From his point of view, you can see the youth's delicate collarbone, rosy lips and slightly curved peach eyes, looking very well behaved. The boy leaned over slightly, revealing a thin white waist. For some reason, he did not push Zhang Chuyan away. The pen lands on the sensitive palm. Every stroke is clearly perceived. The edge of the pen swiped across the palm, following the lines of the palm, and there was a secret tingling sensation on the skin of the palm. A slight numbness appeared after the tingling, and the numbness caused the heat. Too close, he could even vaguely feel the heat of Zhang Chuyan's breathing. Yu Yuan's eyes were dim, and his fingertips curled slightly uncomfortably. The morning sun shines into the room through the window lattice. Zhang Chuyan looked arrogant and willful, and his eyes were full of willfulness. He stood in the sun, brighter than the sun. The boy raised his jaw slightly and ordered arrogantly, "Add me." The author has something to say. Please comment QAQ. Thanks to the little angel who irrigated the nutrient solution, 3 bottles of Yuhuiyu, 1 bottle of chili sauce. Yes, sir. Yu Yuan put his right hand back to his waist, lowered his eyebrows and looked obedient. I'll go back and add you. After writing the contact information, Zhang Chuyan threw the black pen on the desk smartly and said, "Okay, you can go now." Yu Yuan covered the darkness in his eyes and said meekly, "Yes. This is a broken house." Yu Yuan returned to the room with the alms breakfast. This room was originally a storage room for sundries, almost a garbage dump. There are no windows on all sides, only a shabby little bed in the middle. Dirty dust floats in the air. Recalling the scene where Zhang Chuyan leaned slightly and wrote on his palm. A little too cute. Perceiving this thought, Yu Yuan's face suddenly darkened. Is he crazy? He thinks Zhang Chuyan is a cute vase. Walking into the room, Yu Yuan threw the alms food into the trash can. Braised pork ribs, cooked to perfection, lay in the trash, covered in dust. Yu Yuan took out his mobile phone and went to contact his subordinates. Yu Yuan, see you tomorrow morning at Qingfeng Bar. Code A, yes. Mr. Yu, when will you go back to Yu's house? Yu Yuan, wait for me to deal with Zhang Chuyan. Code A, Zhang Chuyan is a neurotic who likes to torture people. You must pay attention to safety. Yu Yuan, it's okay. Occasionally glimpsed the ink marks on the palm of his hand, Yu Yuan's eyes became a little colder. He went to the sink and turned on the faucet. The water splashed over the sink with a splash of water. The picture of the previous life came up, and the vision in front of him was covered with a dark color. Hemorrhage appeared in Yu Yuan's eyes, and his pupils were congested and enlarged. The nerves in the brain are pulled to the extreme, and the anxiety and manic emotions hit. Bitterly cold water ran through her fingers. He scrubbed his knuckles nervously. This repetitive behavior can effectively relieve his anxiety. There is a scar with deep visible bone on the right wrist, with a dark red scab, which is the scar left by him when he lost control of his emotions. I don't know how long it took, my fingers were frozen and I lost my intuition. Yu Yuan finally stopped washing his hands. It would be boring to kill this vase directly. Yu Yuan looked gloomy and depressed. He wants Zhang Chuyan to live rather than die. Zhang Chuyan is meditating. Since you want to abuse the male protagonist, you must formulate a detailed strategic plan, and you must also consult relevant academic papers to ensure the feasibility of the project. It is a complex and sophisticated activity. Before you think about it, get some sleep. When I woke up, it was noon and it was time for lunch. Okay, it's time for dinner. Zhang Chuyan happily continued to cook. It's nice to be a salted fish. Housekeeper, go and call Yu Yuan over. After 5 or 6 minutes, Yu Yuan quickly came to the restaurant. Zhang Chuyan asked, Yu Yuan, you haven't had lunch yet? Yu Yuan, no. Zhang Chuyan's fair face showed a smile, do you know what I called you to come here? Yu Yuan glanced at the sumptuous food on the table and said coldly, eat. Zhang Chuyan said with a smile, no, you can't eat. You have to watch me eat while feeding me. Yu Yuan. Zhang Chuyan propped up his lower jaw, his moist lips parted lightly, and said coquettishly, I want to eat crayfish. In fact, Zhang Chuyan doesn't like to eat food peeled by strangers, he is a little bit clean. For example, I don't like strangers being too close to him, I don't like strangers touching his things, and I don't like touching strangers' skin. Because the male protagonist is so handsome, let the male protagonist peel the lobster reluctantly. Yu Yuan looked calm and pushed the crayfish plate in front of Zhang Chuyan. I want you to peel me. Zhang Chuyan looked arrogant, raised his eyes lazily, amber eyes like honey syrup flowing. The young master is used to being spoiled, and there is a careless dignity in his gestures. It's not annoying, but it makes you want to hold him in the palm of your hand and pet him. Yu Yuan glanced coldly at Zhang Chuyan and ignored him. That look means, give you a look, and you will experience it yourself. The young master is arrogant and never looks at others. Zhang Chuyan sat on the chair casually, and tapped the red beam wooden chair with his fingertips, revealing a vague sense of oppression. Be good, don't disobey my orders. Zhang Chuyan frightened fiercely, if you don't do as I say, the punishment may be unbearable for you. It's like a light orange kitten stealing a tiger's clothes, boo-oo to scare people. Zhang Chuyan raised his eyes, caught off guard into Yu Yuan's pitch-black pupils. The pupils were shimmering with chills, and the extremely suppressed coldness was surging. Zhang Chuyan felt a chill in his heart, and goosebumps rose on his arms. Yu Yuan's appearance is indeed a little scary. If it was put in the past, Zhang Chuyan might be cowardly. But now, he has vowed to defeat Yu Yuan and replace Yu Yuan as the new Shuangguan male lead. Zhang Chuyan snorted coldly and reprimanded, you are deliberately angering me by making an expressionless face. If you don't behave well, the punishment will be heavier. Zhang Chuyan smiled like a flower, and her rosy lips opened and closed. In Yu Yuan's eyes, it was like a sinister poisonous snake hissing and revealing its core. Yu Yuan clenched his fists and looked disgusted with Bing Han, what punishment? Is he locked in the confinement room? Or whip him? Or inject him? Psychotropic drugs? This time he will not let Zhang Chuyan get his wish. Zhang Chuyan stretched out his fingertips and wanted to pinch Yu Yuan's jaw. Unexpectedly, Yu Yuan avoided his fingertips in disgust. Punishment. Zhang Chuyan's voice was teasing, showing a stern look. Suddenly, Zhang Chuyan leaned over, and the distance was a bit ambiguous. He attached to Yu Yuan's ear and exhaled hot air. Sleep with me tonight. Hearing this, Yu Yuan looked stunned. The air was quiet for a few seconds. Zhang Chuyan continued to increase the weight, and you have to hold me to sleep. The atmosphere fell into a dead silence. After a long time, Yu Yuan spoke slowly, his voice dry, Master, I want to peel crayfish. Zhang Chuyan couldn't help laughing. At this moment, the male protagonist lowered his head and could not see the specific expression on his face, but Zhang Chuyan could imagine that it must be extremely humiliating. Well, that's good. Just peel it off. Yu Yuan picked up the crimson crayfish on the dinner plate and began to peel it. Zhang Chuyan couldn't help but be attracted by Yu Yuan's hand. Yu Yuan's phalanx is slender and thin, and if he looks good, he can directly use it as a hand model. Yu Yuan's voice was a little hoarse, Master, peel it off. Zhang Chuyan tied it with a toothpick, picked it up and tried it. The crayfish is delicious, the meat is very tender, slightly spicy and a little sweet. Teeth bite into the shrimp meat, and the juice splashes into the mouth. After eating 5 or 6 lobsters, Zhang Chuyan narrowed his eyes and sighed comfortably, Husband, you peeled it so well. Pop. The lobster in Yu Yuan's hand suddenly fell on the table, and the grease got onto the table. He took a napkin and wiped off the grease stains on the table. Sorry. Zhang Chuyan raised his eyebrows in surprise. The male protagonist reacts so much to the word husband, it seems that he really hates the word husband. Then when he is abusing the male lead physically and mentally, he calls her husband by the way, which may have the effect of double torture. Gosh, he's so smart. I want to eat crayfish. Husband, help me peel it. The tone of the teenager is clear and soft, like a fresh strawberry just picked. The sweetness penetrates the soul. When I eat, my cheeks are bulging and my movements are slow and cute. Zhang Chuyan blinked her peach blossom eyes, her long eyelashes slightly curved. Husband. Yu Yuan has never been called that. I couldn't figure out what Zhang Chuyan wanted to do. Yes. Are you acting like a spoiled brat to him? The enemy in the previous life was acting like a spoiled child. Yu Yuan's eyes revealed confusion. This must be Zhang Chuyan's conspiracy. Zhang Chuyan wanted to fool his mind and disturb his mood by acting like a spoiled child. He has seen many tricks like this, and he will never be fooled. Husband. Zhang Chuyan's soft voice came again. Yu Yuan was agitated, conditioned reflex replied, well, what's wrong? Zhang Chuyan muttered in a soft voice, what are you doing? Hurry up and peel the lobster. Okay. Yu Yuan's voice was dry, and he dared not look directly at Zhang Chuyan. Yu Yuan's fingertips were nimble, he peeled the lobster quickly, and placed it neatly in front of Zhang Chuyan. Seeing so many peeled crayfish, Zhang Chuyan's eyes lit up instantly and praised, husband is awesome. Hearing this compliment, Yu Yuan's Adam's apple slid slightly, and his heart became a mess. The lines of his lips were tight, and his face was indescribably stiff. Thank you, master. Seeing the male protagonist's stiff face, Zhang Chuyan thought that the male protagonist might have been beaten to the point of being speechless. Tisk, what a pity. The male protagonist is extremely homophobic, and you can imagine what the reaction will be when a boy calls him husband. There is a large TV hanging on the walls of the hall, and it is showing a movie. The movie begins with a pair of male lovers kissing. Wow, so exciting! Zhang Chuyan himself is a paper lover and respects love of any gender. But Yu Yuan sees this kind of kissing scene, can he accept it? Zhang Chuyan glanced at the position beside him from the corner of his eye. What's wrong with you? Zhang Chuyan asked. Yu Yuan spoke slowly, his voice a little hoarse, I'm a little disgusted. Can you change a movie, master? Because the male protagonist has peeled so many lobsters for him, it's okay to change a movie, anyway, he doesn't watch movies. Yes. But you have to promise me one thing. Yu Yuan's dark eyes became obscure. Is it finally time to torture him? Yu Yuan raised the corners of his lips and said with a warm smile, okay, I promise young master. Zhang Chuyan frowned and muttered, well, fruit. Yu Yuan was thinking about how fruit can torment people, when he heard Zhang Chuyan continue, eating too much crayfish is a little tired, but just eat fruit to relieve the tiredness. What fruit should I eat? Strawberry? Var. Seeing Yu Yuan stunned, Zhang Chuyan patiently repeated it to his deaf husband. Husband, I want to eat strawberries. Yu Yuan finally recovered. He couldn't understand Zhang Chuyan more and more. The scheming of this vase is deeper than he remembered, and the acting skills are better than he remembered, and it can be disguised so well. Yu Yuan took fresh strawberries from the dining table, put them on the plate in front of Zhang Chuyan, and said perfunctorily, eat it. Husband, I want you to feed me. Zhang Chuyan yawned sleepily, with amber eyes half closed, lying lazily at the dining table like a cat with a bad temper. He didn't sleep well last night and is still very sleepy. Husband, feed me. Yu Yuan wants to refuse rationally, but this person is not without hands, why let him feed? For some reason, her left hand reached out to the plate uncontrollably. When he reacted, the strawberry in his left hand was already handed to Jiang Chuyan's lips. Yu Yuan stared at the strawberry in his left hand and fell into a deep silence. Does his hand have a mind of its own? Seeing the strawberry, Jiang Chuyan frowned and said, I won't eat it. Yu Yuan was stunned. What's wrong? Why don't you eat? Jiang Chuyan muttered in dissatisfaction, it's too big, I don't want to eat it. Yu Yuan stared at the little strawberry in his palm and fell silent. Is this big? Yu Yuan, then what do you want to eat? Jiang Chuyan stated slowly, cut the strawberries into small pieces, I will eat them with a fork. The diameter of the strawberry pieces should not exceed 2 centimeters, and the cut should not be too ugly. Don't want. After cutting, put it on a plate, then sprinkle a layer of icing sugar, not too much or too little sugar. Too much sweetness is too sweet, too little is too bland to taste. Finally, remember to arrange them neatly in the fruit bowl. As Jiang Chuyan spoke, Yu Yuan's face sank little by little. Husband, why don't you look so happy? Maybe you're angry. Jiang Chuyan deliberately tossed Yu Yuan in a different way. Yes, he is that bad. He likes the way the male protagonist doesn't like him but can't kill him. Cool. Jiang Chuyan raised his right hand. His hands were very white, and the knuckles were long and delicate like jade. Jiang Chuyan's amber eyes showed glittering cunning, and he smiled wickedly. Husband, you are standing there without speaking, do you have anything to add? Husband. Hearing Jiang Chuyan calling her husband, Yu Yuan was in a mess, unable to think. His throat tightened, I have nothing to add. Husband, remember to hurry up and come back. Jiang Chuyan frowned and said pitifully, I'm still hungry. In order to make the performance more realistic, Jiang Chuyan touched his bulging belly, you hear my stomach screaming with hunger. The little master has his own sound effect, cuckoo. Yu Yuan. If he hadn't seen Jiang Chuyan eat a pot of crayfish just now, he would have been deceived. Master, please wait a moment, I will do it now. Yu Yuan said helplessly. Jiang Chuyan was lying comfortably on the sofa, waiting to be fed. 20 minutes have passed. Yu Yuan finally came back, holding a transparent fruit plate in his hand. Master, it's done according to your request. Jiang Chuyan glanced at it and found that it was exactly what he said. There are small strawberries cut into blocks in the transparent fruit plate. The surface of the strawberries is sprinkled with a layer of glittering icing sugar, and the juice flows down the strawberry pulp. Appetite. Not bad. Jiang Chuyan yawned drowsily and slept so comfortably, with a red mark on her snow-white cheeks, but I'm going to fall asleep waiting. On the sofa, Jiang Chuyan's amber eyes glowed with water, and asked in confusion, what are you doing standing there? Yu Yuan, what? Jiang Chuyan said proudly, hey me. Why do you need me to remind me of such a small thing? Husband, you are so stupid. Yu Yuan. The author has something to say. Chu, stupid husband. Thanks for the little angel who irrigated the nutrient solution, Christina. 18 bottles, 491-792-7715 bottles. Jiang Chuyan said tolerantly, it's okay, I don't despise you being stupid. Yu Yuan laughed lightly, thank you, young master, for not disliking him. Jiang Chuyan waved his hand generously, you're welcome. Who told me to be so kind? Yu Yuan forked a piece of strawberry and handed it to Jiang Chuyan's lips. Master, please use it. The strawberries are covered in shimmering icing. Jiang Chuyan opened his mouth and bit it. The soft and sweet taste blooms in the mouth. The fruity sweetness of strawberries is paired with the sweetness of candied sugar. I like a cooler taste. Next time, remember to put it in the refrigerator for half an hour. Jiang Chuyan's amber eyes glowed with moist and broken light, and her lips were stained with bright sugar stains. When eating strawberries, her cheeks bulged slightly, quiet and well-behaved, like a soft little hamster. Yu Yuan stared at the boy with dark eyes, his eyes suppressed something, dark like a vicious dog. Do you remember? Zhang Chuian glanced at him, the end of his eyes raised slightly, and he was arrogant. The tickling is unbearable. Yu Yuan lowered his eyes and said respectfully, yes, young master. After eating strawberries, Zhang Chuian was very sleepy and went back to his room to take a nap. When he woke up, Yu Yuan had already left. The melodious Suana bell reverberated in my ears. The housekeeper smiled and greeted, Master, did you change the alarm clock tones today? Zhang Chuian yawned, his voice slurred, Suana version of the Great Compassion Mantra. Housekeeper, no wonder I felt as if I had been saved after listening to it, and felt that my coffin was already on its way. There is also a Suana song that will make you feel like you are in a coffin. Zhang Chuian seriously recommended, it happens to be a honest-op funeral service, do you want to listen? The smile on the butler's lips could hardly be maintained, thank you young master for your kindness, but I want to live a few more years. It sounds good, don't you really want to try it? Zhang Chuian said seriously, I promise not to lie to you, the experience of entering the coffin is first class. Thinking of the scene of entering the coffin, the butler shuddered twice and hurriedly changed the subject, Master, your boyfriends came to you and said that they had prepared a surprise for you at the bar. Zhang Chuian sat up in a daze, and asked in confusion, boyfriends? Isn't his boyfriend Yu Yuan? What's with the word men? The housekeeper dutifully explained, you are just engaged to Yu Yuan. Yu Yuan is your fiancé, not your boyfriend. You probably have hundreds of boyfriends. I have a list of all your boyfriends here. Zhang Chuian was stunned. Peddle hundreds of boats at the same time. The original owner should not be called Sea King, but Sea God. What surprise! Housekeeper, they said you would know when you go to the bar. There are 7 boyfriends we met this time. Zhang Chuian is very curious. What kind of can endure wearing hundreds of green hats at the same time? Teenage Ninja Turtles reincarnated? Come to the bar. The bar is feasting. Along the way, many men came to him for contact information, but Zhang Chuian rejected wave after wave of men. These men must have tried to sell him insurance, but he wisely refused them all. The housekeeper was in a hurry to deal with it in advance, and now there is only him and 3 bodyguards. One of the bodyguards is bald, kind of like Killer 007. The bald forehead gleamed brightly in the light. The ancients did not deceive me, the bald man always shines. What's your name? The bodyguard scratched his bald head and smiled honestly, Master, my name is Shakama, you can just call me Zyasha. Zhang Chuian, you are delicious. Bodyguard blushed. The reserved bar box number is AK-47, but the problem is, they are all road idiots, and they can't find it after several circles. There was a noise from the next room. Why did Lao Tzu's Rolex watch disappear? Who stole Lao Tzu's watch? The speaker had a fat head, big ears, 2 scars between his eyebrows, and 5 large gold chains around his neck. The heavy gold chain stretched the fat around his neck several times, for fear that others would not know that he was a nouveau riche. Can you afford a watch worth more than 10 million yuan? Did you steal Lao Tzu's Rolex? The upstart Baojin threw the beer bottle in a fit of rage, and the shattered glass splattered immediately. Baojingxi smiled and said, that's it. I see you are so handsome, I have a good heart, and I can't bear to embarrass you. Either you kneel down and learn to bark now, or join me tonight. Go to the hotel. I don't care about stealing the watch. Who made me generous? The man in the waiter kept his head down and kept silent. Zhang Chuian could only see the back of the waiter, but could not see the specific appearance. But just looking at the back, you can also feel that this waiter is very handsome. From the inexplicable intuition of a Yangu. Wow! Strong robbery men! Zhang Chuian was excited. The bodyguard asked in a low voice, Master, did you see that waiter right? Would you like me to it for you? Zhang Chuian was surprised, there is such a good thing in the world. The bodyguard patted his chest. Master, don't worry, wrap it on me. The bodyguard kicked open the false door and roared, you guys are not allowed to move. All of you squat down. Baojin squatted on the ground with his hands on his head in fear, and asked in a trembling voice, Police, police. Bodyguard, bandits, come to rob people. Our young master likes that waiter. Get out of here. I have never seen such a domineering bandit. Baojin laughed angrily, stood up, and scolded, Who is your young master? It's me. In the noisy box, the young King Yu's voice was particularly abrupt, and everyone's eyes were attracted. Under the shadow of the light, the youth has fair complexion, collagen on his face, and excellent facial features and bones, which is stunningly beautiful at first glance. Zhang Chuian was wearing a simple white shirt with peach blossom eyes curled inward and outward. Baojin stared blankly at Zhang Chuian, he had never seen such a good-looking person. I thought the waiter just now was good-looking enough, but I didn't expect this little beauty to be truly stunning. Really hit the jackpot today. Baojin swallowed and smiled, Beauty, I think you are extorting. Zhang Chuian, I extort money. Baojin, you stole my heart just now. Zhang Chuian. You just put your watch into the seam of the sofa with your own hands, why are you slandering others now? Suddenly being dismantled, Baojin's face was ugly for a moment, even if you are beautiful, you can't talk nonsense, when did I slander others? Baojin took out his mobile phone and opened WeChat, let's add a WeChat first. The avatar is me, are you satisfied? Zhang Chuian, I vomited. Baojin combed his greasy back and smiled confidently, Beauty, I don't believe you are angry. Beauty, you didn't come to me on purpose, did you? Could it be that you have long been in love with me, so you followed me here on purpose? If you like it, say it boldly, don't be shy. Zhang Chuian rolled his eyes, I didn't come to you, get out. Baojin, it seems that you want to play hartopla tricks with me. It's okay, I don't mind playing more with the little beauty. Zhang Chu was speechless, who are you? Are you sick? Baojin slowly compared his heart, I am your sweetheart. Just diagnosed with a heart disease that loves you. You're dead. Zhang Chuian was so disgusted that she couldn't help but look at the handsome guy's back to wash his eyes, and his eyes fell on the waiter in a suit. I ran out of patience, Zhang Chuian didn't bother to say more, bodyguard, stop this greasy man, I want to. Seeing the cool and handsome back of the waiter, Zhang Chuian's earlobes reddened, and he clenched his fists and said fiercely, we must rob the men. Bodyguard, yes. 3 bodyguards rushed over to stop Baojin's man, grabbed the waiter's arm and ran, Master, we grabbed that waiter for you, please enjoy. Zhang Chuian said with satisfaction, go back and give you a raise. This handsome guy, get to know me, my name is. Seeing the waiter's face, Zhang Chuian suddenly got stuck. The waiter who was robbed turned around, and his facial features were clearly revealed. Seeing that familiar face, Zhang Chuian almost rose to the sky. Why can I meet crazy male protagonists here? Under the shadow, Yu Yuan's deep facial features were hidden in the darkness, and there was a sense of cold oppression. Zhang Chuian conditioned his back to chill. Holy crap, is the male protagonist a mobile refrigerator that can be cooled? Why is it you again? Zhang Chuian couldn't help muttering. He thought he would meet the handsome guy. Yu Yuan mocked, maybe it's the fate that the young master said. Zhang Chuian, tisk, bad luck. Yu Yuan came to the bar to seek revenge for Baojin, but he did not expect to be interrupted by Zhang Chuian. Unfortunately, the tools of torture are ready. Zhang Chuian appeared here, is it a good show to save people? The quickest way to win people's hearts is to push a person into the darkness by hand, and then redeem that person from the darkness. Pua is nothing more than that. Yu Yuan's tone was sarcastic, young master is here to save me. Zhang Chuyan's face was complicated. This matter is a bit complicated. Yu Yuan, master, you can say it simply. Zhang Chuyan sighed and regretted, in short, if I had known it was you, I would not have saved me. After all, this is the male protagonist of Long Aotian, and he should have the halo of the male protagonist. Yu Yuan. Zhang Chuyan turned to the greasy man and said, since I have found your watch, I will take him away. Baojin saw the watch under the sofa, and said unwillingly, he broke my Rolex watch, I can only leave if I lose money, at least 5 million, or kneel down and kowtow 5 times, I reluctantly forgive him. Can I take a look at your watch? Zhang Chuyan's brows and eyes were bright. Bao Gold, fascinated, handed the watch over. Hey, my watch was designed by Mr. Victor, a famous German designer, and there is only one in the world. Zhang Chuyan took the watch and looked at it for a few minutes, frowning slightly. Baojin groaned, what's wrong? Tisk, your watch is fake. Baojin's eyes flashed a strange color, and then he said decisively, impossible. Zhang Chuyan's family is very rich. His father owns several tens of millions of watches, and he is tired of playing Rolex watches since he was a child. This watch is extremely rough in workmanship, and at first glance it is the worst fake. No, 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 there is no fool who thinks this watch is worth 10 million, right? I am afraid it is not worth 1 million. Sorry, I'm wrong, I'm afraid it's not worth 100,000. Baojin was exposed in public to buy fakes, his face suddenly gloomy, and he said angrily, you know shit, you don't know the goods. You look so good looking, you must be sold. How much money can buy you a night? I have money. Baojin wanted to grab Zhang Chuyan's wrist. The 3 bodyguards saw that someone was going to harm the young master, so they rushed up to suppress Baojin on the floor, and slammed Baojin with a few fists. Baojin instantly became bruised and swollen, and wanted to get up and struggle. You dare to beat me? I will kill you. The bodyguard punched the man in the abdomen. Severe pain came from the abdomen. Baojin bowed down in pain, he couldn't say a word, and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. People around want to come up and stop. In order to protect this young master, the Zhang family hired top-notch bodyguards, which were not comparable to ordinary people. Everyone in the box fell down. Zhang Chuyan has a bad temper. If someone bullies him once, he will only take revenge tenfold. Zhang Chuyan took out a deboning knife from the table box and played with his fingertips. He practiced knife skills for a period of time when he was a child, and he was able to pull out beautiful knife flowers, which looked quite bluffing. Boom! It is the crisp sound of the blade breaking through the wooden coffee table. The sharp blade was inserted between Baojin's index finger and middle finger, almost piercing the flesh of the palm. Baojin's face was pale, and he fell limply to the ground. Zhang Chuyan's beautiful eyebrows and eyes were like poisonous flowers, and he said with a smile, I almost saw blood. Baojin's lips trembled, his throat seemed to be strangled, and he couldn't say a word. Zhang Chuyan flicked the handle inserted in Baojin's fingers with his white jade fingertips. The sharp blade vibrated slightly, cutting a small blood stain. Baojin was so frightened that he shivered a few times, and his pants were immediately wet. Damp water seeping down. The whole box was dead silent. The onlookers were stunned and speechless for a while. Thinking about who is this young master, this is too fierce. Zhang Chuyan was the first to break the silence, come here, pour the wine. Yu Yuan respectfully said, yes, young master. The knuckles of the fingers held the wine glass, and the light red wine gurgled into the glass, smearing the magnificent color. Master, here's your wine glass. Zhang Chuyan picked up the wine glass and shook the dark red wine in the glass. Ice-cold wine suddenly splashed the greasy man's face. Red wine soaked the shirt and dripped down. Baojin was soaked all over, like a funny morning dog. Zhang Chuyan's amber eyes were slightly curved, and he said proudly, my mouth is so dirty, I'll help you clean it. Baojin was scared and angry, his eyes were red and bloodshot, he had never suffered such humiliation before, and he was obviously mad. You. Don't thank me. Jiang Chuian wiped the wine from his fingers with a tissue, looking at Baojin like he was looking at garbage. Recycling is everyone's responsibility. When putting down the wine glass, Jiang Chuian accidentally knocked the back of his right hand against the sharp edge outside the wine table. The sharp pain suddenly came from the back of the hand. Jiang Chuian curled up his shoulders, his little face pale. Master, are you all right? Yu Yuan stepped forward and looked at the injured right hand of the young man. The bar is dimly lit. The skin on the back of the hand is white and greasy, like a handful of snow. The place where the bump touched was slightly rose and light red, which was very abrupt. Jiang Chuian frowned, his long eyelashes fluttering. Amber eyes covered with mist, pitiful. Husband, it hurts. The author has something to say thanks to the little angels who irrigate the nutrient solution, Mos Iron, Hu Yahweh 10 bottles, Booster 5 bottles, Yaya 1 bottle, Buha Cuties. HTML Chapter 6, I ran away after teasing the paranoid hero _shabeo.com review page equals /242_242786/5081090.html var next page equals /242_242786/5081090.html varindex page equals /242_242786/ vararticle_id equals 242786, varcaptor_id equals 508109091, function jump page, varEvent equals document.all, window.event arguments 0, if, event.keycode equals 37, document.location equals preview_page, if, event.keycode equals 39, document.location equals next_page, if, event.keycode equals 13, document.location equals index_page, document.onKeyDown equals jump page, login. Shubao.net. Yu Yuan's eyes swept over everyone present, and the corners of his lips curled into a smile. Who are they? Yu Yuan was clearly smiling and gentle at the moment, but Jiang Chuian felt that he might be about to pick up the knife shark in the next second. Jiang Chuian was inexplicably guilty. A flash of light flashed in my mind, and quickly clarified, it's the study partner I found for you. Study partner? Yu Yuan half smiles. Jiang Chuian nodded reservedly, with a tone like a reward, yes, I was afraid that you would be lonely studying alone, so I found a study partner for you to help you improve your study efficiency. The male model asked suspiciously, Master Jiang, do you want to play kink in the classroom this time? Why didn't you tell me in advance? I haven't had time to prepare the kink school uniform. Jiang Chuian. Are you here to demolish? Jiang Chuian had a lifeless expression on his face and struggled to the death, don't listen to his nonsense. I only have learning in my heart, and I don't have that kind of worldly desire. Study is the most important thing, Yu Yuan, go back to school as soon as possible. Master, you forced me to drop out of school and cancelled my admission. When Yu Yuan spoke, he used honorific titles, but there was an indescribable sarcasm, have you changed your mind now? Jiang Chuian shook the red wine glass in his hand and said arrogantly, you are my canary. You have to do what I want you to do. I'm interested now. If I want you to go back to study, you have to go to school obediently. Yu Yuan's eyes were dark, as if he wanted to devour everything. From a close distance, Yu Yuan's appearance is flawless, and he is still a mess. The light and dark interlaced light sprinkled on Yu Yuan's deep-set facial features, with thick eyebrows and handsome eyes, and his appearance was very aggressive, which made his legs feel weak. Jiang Chuian's legs were weak for a second, and he wanted to run away. Husband! Jiang Chuian called sweetly in a soft voice, reaching out and pulling Yu Yuan's suit and tie down. According to this strength, Yu Yuan leaned down halfway, and the distance between the two instantly narrowed. I accidentally used too much force. Zhang Chuyan leaned back, and his back suddenly pressed against the cold table. The young master frowned in pain, and there was a shallow mist in his amber eyes. The skin on the back is tender, and it must be a lot of red. Suddenly being pulled by the tie, Yu Yuan took 2 steps forward unexpectedly. Yu Yuan supported the table with both hands to stabilize his balance, and placed it on Zhang Chuyan's waist. In the eyes of others, this posture seems to be as if Yu Yuan took the initiative to embrace Zhang Chuyan in his arms, with a very pious posture. "Baby, you don't think you have the right to resist?" Zhang Chuyan's amber pupils were full of vicious provocations, and wickedly attached to Yu Yuan's ear and chuckled softly. The hot air spilled on Yu Yuan's auricle. "Don't forget your identity, you are just my lover. The kind of lover who was locked in the villa by me and met my special needs." As he spoke, Zhang Chuyan couldn't help blushing first. This kind of villain's lines is a bit too shameful. Shame. Thinking of the video the housekeeper sent him, Zhang Chuyan's cheeks flushed, and he said fiercely, "Even if I want to do bad things to you, you can't resist." The boy's snow-white cheeks are flushed, and the tail is sweet, reminiscent of the peach wine brewed at the beginning of summer. Zhang Chuyan's amber eyes are full of provocation, the peach blossom eyes are slightly raised, and the end of the eyes is filled with a gorgeous red. Yu Yuan was not angry at all, but a different emotion emerged in his heart. "I really want to bully him. These eyes must be beautiful when they cry." Yu Yuan's lips curled into a pure and kind smile, and he said docilely and respectfully, "Young master, you are worrying too much. How could I possibly rebel against you?" Zhang Chuyan didn't believe in the nonsense of the dog man. "Yes, the male protagonist will not resist, the male protagonist will only kill him." Zhang Chuyan laughed lightly, "Remember what you said. The school supplies will be delivered soon, and soon you can officially start studying." Zhang Chuyan recalled the sad history of the past. In the original world, he went to class at 8 o'clock every morning, full of classes from Monday to Friday, and he had to study at night. I wonder why there is such a thing as evening self-study in the university. Why Yu Yuan doesn't have to suffer from studying. Jealousy makes Zhang Chu's words unrecognizable. He turned into a lemon essence, and pointed, "Yu Yuan, a college student of your age, some people still need to go to self-study in the middle of the night, and take a quiz every 3 weeks and a big exam every 5 days. Why do you stay at home comfortably all day? Will your conscience not hurt? Go back to school quickly. Self-study in the morning and evening are all arranged. Every day must be full of courses. If there are not enough professional courses, go for a double degree." Yu Yuan looked calm and said lightly, "I can't go to school. The young master has handled the formalities for me to leave school." "Zhang Chuyan, this is not a problem, I have asked someone to do it, and you can go back to school soon." Yu Yuan looked at the young man in front of him, and a strange sense of separation suddenly appeared in his heart. The neurotic Zhang Chuyan in his memory would be really kind enough to help him restore his student status. Not at all. The neuropathy will be happier when he sees him in more pain, and wish to kill him himself. How could he be so kind enough to help him restore his student status? "Master." Zhang Chuyan's amber eyes are clear, his demeanor is clean and gentle. "What's wrong?" Yu Yuan's eyes were serious, and for the first time he said sincerely, "Thank you." "Didn't I already say it? You don't need to say thank you to me, there is nothing more to say thank you in our relationship." Zhang Chuyan smiled brightly, and blinked her peach blossom eyes, "Just call the money." "Yu Yuan." Zhang Chuyan's smile slowly disappeared. "Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot that you have no money." "Yu Yuan." "Zhang Chuyan, it's okay to make an IOU, our shop supports Huobi payment." "Yu Yuan." "Huobi is not activated." Zhang Chuyan said with a cold face, "Oh. Goodbye." There was a knock on the door. The waiter in a tuxedo said politely, "Guest, your order has arrived. Zhang Chuyan was surprised, so fast. He just placed the order less than 10 minutes ago, and the item has already been delivered? Waiter, in order to ensure the customer's experience, we always deliver as soon as possible. Now that the school supplies have arrived, then. Before Zhang Chu finished his words, he saw something that the waiter brought out didn't seem right. In a large black gift box, small leather, whip, candles, chains, handcuffs, etc. are placed on the coffee table. The waiter even closed the door for them intimately when they went out. I wish you and your friends a good time. Looking at the strange things on the table, Zhang Chuyan was dumbfounded and stared blankly. He has been well protected by his family since he was a child. He has never been exposed to this aspect, and this is the first time he has seen such a light object in the real world. It was suffocating that so many people around were staring at him. Tai Shi is dead, woohoo! Zhang Chuyan's earlobes couldn't help but get hot. The male model next to him was surprised for a moment, and then approached him intimately. Wow, did young Master Zhang play so much this time? Am I fortunate enough to be young Master Jiang's experiment? Thank you, no need. Zhang Chuyan hurriedly avoided the male model, sat beside Yu Yuan, and used Yu Yuan as a shield. He doesn't like others being too close to him, let alone touching him. Yu Yuan is an exception. Yu Yuan's tone was sarcastic, so this is the school supplies in the mouth of the young master. The young master's preferences are really unique. Seeing those strange things on the coffee table, Zhang Chuyan's cheeks were flushed red, and he was so embarrassed that he wanted to find a crack to burrow in. Shakama, put these things away. Shakama's forehead is like a big light bulb, clutching his chest and crying, Master, I'm not a showman. Zhang Chu was speechless. You don't need to sell yourself. That's good. Shakama quickly packed everything and presented it to Zhang Chuyan. Master, do you want to use the whip and chain on Yu Yuan? Do you want to play the little black room? Do you need me to prepare a venue for you? No need. If you talk more, your salary will be deducted. Zhang Chuyan's cheeks were hot, and the light pink spread from his neck to his earlobes. Occasionally seeing Zhang Chuyan's red earlobe, Yu Yuan was stunned and sneered in his heart. Zhang Chuyan also has a tune-up classroom at home, with such excessive props, how could he blush at this level? After so many years, Zhang Chuyan's acting is much better. Could Zhang Chuyan be reborn like him? This guess was quickly rejected by Yu Yuan. If Zhang Chuyan was reborn, it would be impossible to mistake him for Qi Gai when they met. What happened to Zhang Chuyan? Yu Yuan pinched his eyebrows. The bar impressed him. In the previous life, Zhang Chuyan wanted to use those S.M props on him, but he failed. Because he stabbed Zhang Chuyan with a knife. Nowadays, Yu Yuan is carrying a miniature camera, intending to record what Zhang Chuyan did, and posting the recorded video on the internet can ruin Zhang Chuyan's reputation. Although the head of the Zhang family loves Zhang Chuyan, he has extremely high requirements for the character of his descendants. If the head of the Zhang family found out, Zhang Chuyan would have to suffer and suffer. Before no one was paying attention, Yu Yuan installed the camera in a hidden corner, which just happened to capture the whole situation of the box. The trap has been set up, just waiting for the prey to be hooked. What are you staring at me for? Yu Yuan suddenly came back to his senses, and found that the young master's cheeks were flushed, and his amber eyes glared at him fiercely. My heart was scratched lightly by the cat's paw, and it was very itchy. When the boy blushed, his eyebrows and eyes became more beautiful and beautiful. Yu Yuan turned his head according to the words, his voice hoarse, sorry, young master. I have no other intentions. Zhang Chuyan snorted coldly, ignored the male protagonist, and was recalling the plot of the original book. The original plot was to make Yu Yuan jealous. The original owner deliberately got close to other men in front of Yu Yuan, in order to achieve the goal of humiliating Yu Yuan. Zhang Chuyan really doesn't understand the brain circuit of the original owner's neurosis. Love him and give him a green hat? This is the legend, love to the extreme is hate? The male model lowered his voice and said in a low bubbly voice, Master, do you want to eat grapes? I will peel the grapes for you. This contrived bubble sound really shocked Zhang Chuyan, and she got goosebumps. My dear, is this a sonic attack? Zhang Chuyan turned to look at the male model. The male model was handsome and could not tell what number it was. No more. Zhang Chuyan is a little bit clean and doesn't like eating grapes peeled by strangers. But I want you to do something else. Hearing there was a show, the male model immediately showed an ambiguous smile and hurriedly hinted, you can do whatever you want to me. My whole person belongs to the young master. Really? Zhang Chuyan asked while holding his chin. The male model stared at Zhang Chuyan's beautiful face obsessively, her heartbeat couldn't help speeding up, really? I like you. The other men said unwillingly, young master Zhang, you can do whatever you want to me, I am willing. Zhang Chuyan took a microphone. Tonight is a long night, lonely as snow, we might as well do something interesting. Someone swallowed and asked expectantly, what's the matter? Zhang Chuyan unbuttoned the top button of his shirt, revealing his delicate collarbone, secret. I'm going to make you a very enjoyable night, you just have to enjoy it. Hearing this, the male models were suddenly a little excited. The young master of the Zhang family has come to the bar so many times, and he has never crossed the line with them. As long as they go to bed, it will be much easier for them to ask for money or resources. The male model took the initiative to unbutton his shirt, closed his eyes and invited, Master, come on. I was about to write waiting for the coming. Fortunately on my face. The housekeeper and bodyguard left consciously and waited outside. Zhang Chuyan's eyes fell on Yu Yuan not far away. Yu Yuan sat quietly in the corner, as if he was isolated from the world. The restlessness and hustle and bustle around him had nothing to do with him. Yu Yuan showed him a shallow smile, but there was no smile in the dark eyes. In the corner, the dark red light flashed 3 times. The camera has started recording. Yu Yuan asked softly, Master, what are you going to play? Zhang Chuyan frowned, it's getting late, let's play some games between adults. The male models made a surprised voice and offered their own pillow seats, Mr. Zhang, I know a lot of fun games. For example, if you lose a game of poker, take off a piece of clothing at a time. Zhang Chuyan said disdainfully, this game is too childish and not exciting enough. Let's play something exciting. You cover your eyes first, I want to surprise you. In order to ensure that Yu Yuan and these male models would not peek, Zhang Chuyan bound their eyes, tied their wrists to the chair, and asked them to sit around the round table. Looks like what's going to happen next. The wrist was bound by the rope behind him, Yu Yuan looked cold. This is a closed room, and those bodyguards will not be able to enter for a while. If Zhang Chuyan dares to cross the border, he will let Zhang Chuyan taste this knife again. Zhang Chuyan looked at the masterpiece in front of him with satisfaction. Next, it's time to witness the miracle. Zhang Chuyan snapped his fingers, you can open your eyes now. Yu Yuan opened his eyes, he didn't see Qing toys, instead he saw a stack of professional books in front of him. Sensor and Automatic Detection Technology, Microcomputer Principle and Application, DCS/PLC/FCS Principle and Application, Power System Transient Science, Calculus, etc. Yu Yuan suddenly had a bad feeling, what is this? Husband, let's play an adult game. The rule of the game is that if you can't complete these questions within the time limit, then double the number of questions. If you don't get 60% correct, you have to do 100 push-ups and sit-ups. Zhang Chuyan turned on the timer and smiled brightly. Time starts now. The author has something to say thanks to the little angel who irrigates the nutrient solution, 5 bottles for the stronger, 546847953 bottles, Thank you to Cute Nutrient Solutions, Omega/MOMO tweet. Yu Yuan. Male models, I don't even understand the name. Zhang Chuian explained, this is a professional book from the Department of Automation. The male model has a yellow face, does automation mean an automatic massager? Zhang Chuian. What the is an automatic massager? Zhang Chuian cleared his throat, these professional books are indeed a bit difficult for you, because I didn't think about it well. You should all have studied mathematics, right? The male model hurriedly said, I learned it. I know 1 + 1 = 2. I also know 80 poses for the origin of life. Zhang Chuian said thoughtfully, you don't need to learn these professional books on automation. The male models breathed a sigh of relief. They would rather explore the origin of life than study. Zhang Chuian thought for a few seconds and decided, I'll give you a simpler task. The male model was moved, thank you, young Master Zhang. Young Master Zhang is so kind to me. May I ask what preparations do I need to do now? Zhang Chuian took a sip of hot tea, his lips moistened, go and write calculus. The male model was sluggish and asked in confusion, is calculus a new way of playing? Zhang Chuian put the brick-thick professional book in front of the male model. This book is so thick that when I put it on the desk vibrates. The male model swallowed hard. Zhang Chuian said enthusiastically, I was very moved because you offered to peel the grapes for me just now. So I added an extra set of math problems for you. Hearing this, the male model shed tears of emotion and choked, thank you, young Master Zhang. You're welcome. Seeing the male model without clothes, Zhang Chuian couldn't bear to look directly, and reminded, you put on your clothes first. The male model put on her clothes obediently and said shyly, Master Zhang, do you want to tear off my clothes yourself? I don't want to. Zhang Chuian knocked on the table and said earnestly, this kind of work with wine will not last long, you can find a serious job in the future. Or, if anyone wants to continue to school, they can contact me. I'd love to sponsor underprivileged male college students. Young Master is really a bodhisattva. Yu Yuan's dark eyes crossed a bit of irony. Don't ask, it's just too much money to spend. Zhang Chuian's voice was as arrogant as ever, with a smile on his beautiful eyebrows, I'm happy to spend money to buy happiness. I have prepared the 1 study materials for you. You go back to school as soon as possible, I don't want to support idlers. Yu Yuan's voice was dry, 1 meter high learning materials. Zhang Chuian glanced at the order on the phone, oh, I remembered wrong. It's a 2 meter learning material. Yu Yuan. Zhang Chuian's amber pupils glowed slyly, and a small smile hung on the corners of his lips. Student Yu Yuan, since you have praised me as a bodhisattva, I should treat you better. Do 10 more sets of questions than them. You're welcome, I have prepared the questions in advance. Yu Yuan. Zhang Chuian, friendly reminder, now the timer has started, if you don't complete the task within the specified time, you will be punished. The male models woke up from a dream and opened their books to immerse themselves in learning. The room fell silent, except for the rustling of black pen across the paper. Seeing Yu Yuan who is writing and writing hard below, Zhang Chuian couldn't help feeling relieved. The bar's astringent English songs were playing in her ears, and Zhang Chuian always felt that something was wrong. What's wrong? Zhang Chuian's mind flashed and he suddenly thought of it. How can I listen to such a sad song while studying? This kind of song is suitable for listening to do. Change song, must change song. In order to completely purify the minds of the male models, Zhang Chuian intends to let the male models bathe in the Buddha's light and listen to the will of the Buddha, the Great Compassion Mantra. He opened the music software, only to find that the Great Compassion Mantra actually requires membership. Grass, I only cross vinyl VIP. It's all right, little problem. Zhang Chuian was a very domineering president to open an annual member of Wangshuiyun. If you are a real boss, you should open a member without changing your face, without any mercy. The magnificent music of the great compassion mantra reverberated in the bar box, as if dancing on a grave. Nanmu drinking lutan natuo lui nanmu akwi ya polujadi shuopalaya. Yu Yuan looked at the complex and professional circuit calculation problem in front of him, and heard the sound of chanting the great compassion mantra. Together, the torture effect is doubled. Yu Yuan looked in a trance and pinched the painful temple. Is he crazy or Zhang Chuian is crazy? Zhang Chuian sat next to Yu Yuan and focused on the male protagonist. In order to abuse the male protagonist's body and mind, Zhang Chuian turned on the game sound effect of the mobile phone and tried to interfere with the male protagonist's learning ideas. Yu Yuan studied hard there, and he was playing games here. Zhang Chuian glanced at Yu Yuan and seemed not to be affected by him at all. However, this kind of behavior is still not good, Zhang Chuian found out in conscience, silently turned off the volume, and continued to indulge in the world of the game. After playing a few games, Zhang Chuian felt that it was too boring and did not experience the fun of the game at all. It was definitely not because he was too good, and he couldn't even beat the human and machine, smiley face. He turned over on the sofa, chewing strawberry fudge, and inspected the 7 handsome male models who were writing quickly and Yu Yuan. Sitting with so many male models, Yu Yuan is the most beautiful one. Zhang Chuian suddenly thought that Yu Yuan is so handsome that he can make Yu Yuan enter the entertainment industry to make money for him, and there is a high probability that he will make a lot of money. Let Yu Yuan arrange all the movies, TV series, and variety shows. Squeeze Yu Yuan. Zhang Chuian thought about it and felt that the operation was too complicated and not suitable for salted fish like him. Yu Yuan learns quickly. With the professional content that he has never been exposed to before, he can write most of the obscure professional questions by self-study. This kind of learning talent is terrifying. As a qualified villain, of course you can't praise the male protagonist at this time, but you must abuse the male protagonist physically and mentally. Zhang Chuian pointed at a question casually and pointed, no one can't even do such a simple question. Zhang Chuian's knuckles were like white jade, and his fingertips were slightly pink. Suddenly seeing the white fingertips falling on the paper, Yu Yuan looked slightly startled. He really couldn't write the steps to solve this problem. I can't write such a simple question. If I were you, I would be too ashamed to come out and meet people. Zhang Chuian held his jaw, chewing strawberry fudge, cheeks. It's more cute than a small hamster foraging for food. Yu Yuan raised his eyes, is it simple? Of course it's easy. Zhang Chuian continued to ridicule mercilessly, isn't this kind of question easy to do? No one really can't do it, ha 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 ha. Yu Yuan's expression was not obvious, and there was no sign of anger, will you do it? Zhang Chuian couldn't smile anymore. He has never read this kind of automation professional book, how could he possibly do it? In order to save face, Zhang Chuian took the test questions. Time ticks past. Zhang Chuian read the topic carefully, and was pleasantly surprised to find that he really knew how to do it. He happened to see this question in a popular science book. The process was too complicated, he forgot, and only remembered that the calculation result was 520. Zhang Chuian said the answer calmly, I can do this question at a glance, it's too simple, the result is 520. After feeling confident, Zhang Chuian continued to mock, oh, a 3-year-old child can do this kind of question. Can't you Swiba not do it? Tisk, you can't. A simple tisk fully demonstrated Zhang Chuian's yin and yang strangeness and irony, and successfully completed the task of abusing the male protagonist's body and mind. Yu Yuan frowned slightly, probably because he was angry. Seeing that the male protagonist was angry, Zhang Chuian was inexplicably happy. Maybe this is the fun of being a big villain. It seems that the crazy male protagonist is not so scary. I can't even do such a simple math problem. The IQ of the male protagonist doesn't seem too high. I feel sorry for the stupid male lead for a second. It seems that his great cause of defeating the male protagonist is about to make a major progress. The future is bright. Woo, I really want to bully the male lead. Jiang Chuyan stretched out his fingertips and tentatively touched the side of Yu Yuan's neck. Like the Rua kitten, Jiang Chuyan gently touched the skin on the side of the neck with the pulp of his fingers, feeling warm to the touch. I didn't expect the cold-hearted, crazy male protagonist to feel so comfortable. Various calculation formulas and problem-solving skills flashed through Yu Yuan's mind, but he didn't react for a while. When he realized the hand at his Adam's apple, his whole body turned into a rigid sculpture. The wonderful emotions melted in the heart, and the throbbing spread deep in the bone marrow. Not only does it not disgust him, but it is a little addictive. For some reason, he didn't dodge, and he didn't slap Jiang Chuyan's chaotic fingertips. The strength of Yu Yuan's grip increased unconsciously, leaving a deep ink scratch on the surface of the snow-white paper. Yu Yuan raised his dry and stiff eyelids and reached out to hold Jiang Chuyan's wrist. Like holding a ball of snow. The skin of the boy's wrist was white and tender, and he held a circle of light red marks. Jiang Chuyan's amber eyes glowed with broken light, and his fingertips slid down the line of the neck, touching the slightly convex Adam's apple. The Adam's apple protrudes slightly and feels hard. Bang bang. Husband. Hello. Hard. The author has something to say. Note, Nanwaho Lutan Najurei, Nanmu Ai, Polyaja Dishuabalaya comes from the Great Compassion Mantra. Thanks to the little angel who irrigated the nutrient solution, 10 bottles of Linja Eyes Hang, 54684795, 1 bottle of Gu San Kaiu, 3 cute little ones, Omega, / There was a dead silence in the air. Male models look at their noses and don't dare to make a sound. Yu Yuan's voice was a little hoarse, I'm hard. Jiang Chuyan recalled the feeling of the Adam's apple just now, and said seriously, yes, you are very hard. Suddenly she realized that what she said just now was ambiguous. Jiang Chuyan blushed slightly, and stumblingly explained, no, you heard it wrong. You are not hard, you are soft. Yu Yuan. In order to fool around, Jiang Chuyan's voice softened unconsciously and acted like a spoiled child, husband, you are amazing. Behind the boy is the bright sunshine, the summer is bright. There are flickering shimmering particles floating in the air, jumping and twitching in the boy's eyelashes, the boy's amber eyes are like melted honey syrup, and the peach blossom eyes are glowing with water. Yu Yuan looked dazed for a moment. Slight numbness creeps into the bones from the back of the neck, as if there are countless ants scurrying in the heart, making people feel unbearable. Time seems to be infinitely prolonged and infinitely shortened. Husband, you are really amazing. Jiang Chuyan lowered his eyelashes and sighed, unlike me, I don't know anything, I eat and wait to die every day. Seeing the young man's sad expression, his brows and eyes darkened, he looked pitiful. Yu Yuan felt a tingling sensation in his heart. In his impression, Jiang Chuyan was always proud and arrogant, never showing such a vulnerable side. Yu Yuan comforted, everyone has advantages and disadvantages, so there is no need to belittle yourself. My husband is right. Jiang Chuyan's peach blossom eyes drooped, her eyelashes were long and slender, and she sighed in distress, oh, my heart is so tired. I don't seem to be able to do anything. He changed his words, I may only know these simple, easy to understand, easy to master math problems. Jiang Chuyan sighed, it's so annoying. There was a faint scent of green tea in the air. These simple, easy to understand and easy to master math problems just happened to be something Yu Yuan couldn't do. Jiang Chuyan was mocking him in a different way. Yu Yuan. He was really in a trance when he was doing the questions, and he went to comfort Jiang Chuyan. In the corner, the camera is still recording the scene of their questioning. Yu Yuan was completely oblivious to the camera, he pressed his throbbing temple, buried his head and continued to be submerged by the sea of questions. After doing the 5-hour problem, Yu Yuan couldn't help but start thinking about some profound philosophical questions. For example, is this world real? Is he really reborn? Why is he not killing the quartet after his rebirth, but researching the application of DCS, PLC, and FCS in the control system? Why is Zhang Chuian so different from the Zhang Chuian in his memory? This Zhang Chuian always gave him a strange feeling that he didn't seem to be a person in this world, at least it was completely different from the neurosis he remembered. A terrifying guess suddenly appeared in Yu Yuan's mind. The person in front of him is not the original Zhang Chuian at all. Instead, a different person. The TV next to it is playing a TV series that is extremely sadistic and romantic. The heroine was originally a flower demon without a human body. One day I suddenly fell in love with a scumbag in the human world. After 8 years of love and long distance running, the heroine finally married the scumbag. At this time, the scumbag Bai Yueguang suddenly appeared. Bai Yueguang is a rare blood type and suffers from a serious blood disease. The scumbag only hears the new people laugh, but the old ones cry. In order to give Bai Yueguang a blood transfusion, the scumbag drained the heroine's blood. The heroine lay in the hospital bed with depression, and finally passed away. When watching TV, Zhang Chuian couldn't help but feel sad and thought about himself. In the end, he was also treated as an adult blood pack by the male protagonist. It's just horrible. Zhang Chuian was aggrieved and angry, and moved 10 sets of questions to Yu Yuan's desk. Write all 10 new sets of questions. Seeing the 10 extra sets of questions, Yu Yuan asked in confusion, "Master, what's wrong with you?" Zhang Chuian glared at him with amber eyes, "Scumbag." Yu Yuan. Zhang Chuian's eyes were dyed with a thin layer of red, and he didn't want to pay attention to the male protagonist. "The TV series is too ugly, I'm in a bad mood." Putting those words down, Zhang Chuian left in a rage. Yu Yuan's eyes are explored. The plot of the second half of the TV series is very similar to their future. Zhang Chuian has such a big reaction. Does Zhang Chuian have future memories? There are 2 rooms inside and outside. The inner room is the bedroom for sleeping. The body fell into the soft bed. Zhang Chuian frowned, and his heart was always holding a breath. When he thought that he would be drained of blood by Yu Yuan in the future, and then Yu Yuan and Bai Yueguang lived happily together, Zhang Chuian felt bitter and astringent, and his eyes were red. He will torture the male protagonist. A flash of light flashed in his mind, and Zhang Chuian suddenly thought of a wonderful way to abuse the male lead. The male protagonist has a very serious mental cleanliness and hates everything about the same sex, including the body of the same sex. He plans to take that kind of photos and send them to the male protagonist to mentally pollute the male protagonist. Zhang Chuian walked down from the bed and came to the floor-to-ceiling mirror. The floor mirror can see his whole person at a glance. As long as you can abuse the male lead, taking a few pictures is nothing. Anyway, the male protagonist can't see it or touch it. Zhang Chuian half knelt on the floor, lifted a corner of his white shirt, revealing the fair skin around his waist. The juvenile's waistline is smooth, and the complexion is as white and greasy as suet jade. There are also 2 small beauty nests at the back waist. This is the first time he has taken this kind of photo, and the tips of his ears are a little red. Zhang Chuian selects this photo and clicks send. Ding dong! The phone suddenly heard a tone. Yu Yuan casually opened the lock screen interface, which was a text message sent to him by Zhang Chuian. Yu Yuan clicks on the text message. A photo suddenly appeared before his eyes. Dim background with roses blooming in vase at the edge. The teenager was half kneeling on the plush carpet. The dull grey on the carpet made the teenager's complexion more and more white. The waist is so thin that it can be wrapped around with one hand. The dim light fell, and the light was on and off, but the young man's skin was dazzlingly white. Amber pupils are sly, like a little fox who secretly did bad things. The end of his eyes was a little red, which was inexplicably pitiful. The tip of the nose is upturned, and the lips are light crimson, glowing with moist light. Light pink knuckles lift up the shirt hem. The white greasy skin is looming, and the waistline is fascinating. Pure and lustful, sultry without knowing it. The author has something to say. Comment and send a red envelope. Until the next chapter update, thanks to the little angel who irrigated the nutrient solution, 5 bottles of Ling, urge the stronger, Sissy is very cute 1 bottle, thank you very much for your support, I will continue to work hard.